Very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the today's session on international business environment. Yesterday, in the earlier sessions or the previous sessions, we have seen with respect to the international business, what is a business, what is an environment, and how the international business environments needed to be conducted or undertaken. Then furthermore, we have seen with respect to the different trade theories that have been provided and how the international trade business has been developed since industrial revolution of 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th century onwards. Today, in the concluding session or the second last session, we will be dealing with and understanding the concepts with respect to the ethical issues in the international business. So understanding the ethics in international business is quite important. Now, whenever we a particular business is being conducted at national level or global level, what happens? There are various certain rules, regulation, guidelines that we have to follow. So every nation, every country has its own perspectives. They have own their set of rules and they have their own ethics or cultures or values. So at an international business level, what we have to see, we as an organization, when we are conducting the business activities, we have to take into consideration that every nation is supported, everyone is quite taken into consideration, and a proper conducive environment is available wherein all of together are developing and creating the growth in the international trade and business activities. Now, let's come and look at the various introduction with respect to the ethical issues. But now, understanding before the dealing with the ethical issues, let's see what is meant by ethics. Ethics refers to the accepted principles of right or wrong that govern the conduct of a person, the members of a profession, or the actions of an organization. So, in simple terms, what does ethics mean? Ethics means a certain guidelines or a certain principles which states you about what is right and what is wrong. So, a certain principles, a certain rules as to what has to be done, what has not to be done. In this way, we decide about what is good and what is bad. So what is this particular right and wrong? It has been conducting or it has been governing the conduct of a person, that how a person should behave and how a person should not behave, how a person should talk, how a person should speak, in what way he should behave, and so on. So in this way, a conduct of a person with respect to an individual. The members of a profession, if a particular profession has been undertaken, whether you are a doctor, lawyer, or a particular person who are conducting the business or you are conducting the service of a particular society, then in what way you should behave, in what way your actions should be, and in what way in your conduct should be. And lastly, the third perspective, if you are an organization, how your organizations and your actions should be undertaken. So in this way, it is referring as an ethics. So ethics give a certain guidelines, a certain principles, a certain SOPs with respect to what you have to do and what you not have to do. So a certain understanding with respect to the right and wrong activity that is been conducted is called as an ethics. Now, ethics is applicable to all the three perspectives, whether you are individual, whether you are the members of a particular profession, that is a certain business, or whether you are an organization itself. Often, a function of difference in economic development, politics, legal systems, and culture is into existence. So what do we see? There is always a difference in opinion, difference in different rules, regulations, and norms and guidelines with respect to the people that they are governing into. So every economic activity is different, every development activity is different, every political scenario is different, the legal systems, the cultures, the customs, the values, and so on of each and every country or a particular nation are different at different locations and at different level. So certain practices in one country may be unethical when judged by other countries, Western standards, it may be ethical. So there is a certain differentiation or a certain difference in opinion wherein you can find it that at a certain country level, whenever you are conducting a certain activity, it may be ethical at one country, but it may be unethical at another country. So it becomes very judgmental for a particular person or a particular organization to understand and identify as to which activity is ethical and which activity is unethical. So in this way, what happened? We have to find out certain practices with respect to universal applicable procedures and standards. The most ethical issues involves the employment practices, the human rights, the environment regulations, the corruption, and the moral obligations of an MNC. So now with respect to the international business that we are dealing, let's take into consideration the ethical practices or the ethical issues that a particular MNC has to undergo or take into consideration while doing its business activities. Let's look further. So scope and nature of the ethical issues. So the scope and nature of the ethical issues can be understood with respect to the various concerns now coming with in detail with respect to the employment, the human rights, the environment regulations, the corruption, and the moral obligations. So The first practice that we are looking for is with respect to the employment. When work conditions in a host nation are clearly inferior to those in a multinational's home nation, what standards should be applied? Those of the home nation, those of the host nation, or something in between. Now, I'll give you an example of an employment practices. Now, whenever a particular employment practices comes into picture, if you are undertaking a certain situation wherein an employee is situated or a particular organization is located in India also and in US also. Now, depending on the environment, depending on the culture, depending on the climate, and depending on the natural habitat and the conditions of the work employment, what happen? People working in India will be comfortable to work between 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Whereas people working in India, in US, he may be comfortable to work in the late night hours, that is from 6 to 4, 6 to 8, 6 to 12, or whatever it may be. So depending on the day factors, depending on the availability of resources, the working conditions differ from a country to country, nation to nation. So when a particular working conditions, it changes from nation to nation, the MNC, what does it has to see? The MNC has to take into consideration that they don't have to restrict with respect to the home nation or the domestic nations or the multinationals home nation rules and regulations. They have to adopt with respect to the standards of the multinational or the foreign or the Western nations also. So in this way, what we have to see that the practices of the multinationals home nation must not be obliged, must not be made compulsory to adopt in such a way that it creates a burden for the employment opportunities. So employment creation should be in such a way that it is quite conducive, it is quite comfortable, and it is quite feasible for each and every member employee to perform and conduct its activities or its work related activities efficiently and effectively. For example, Apple iPod and Hong Kong Fu in China, Hong Fujin in China, Nike in Vietnam, and Levi's Choice and Tan Family China. So in this way, what happened? These particular companies, that is Apple iPod, located in US, Hong Fujin in China, and Nike again in Vietnam, and Levi's Choice and Tan Family in China. So all these particular companies, they are having different locations, but with respect to their different locations of their multinationals hometown, what happened? They have been changing their respective cultures. They have been changing their respective working hours. They have been changing their respective employment practices in respect to the countries accordingly. So a country's policy or Apple's policy in US is different. Apple's policy in China is different. Apple's policy in India or Asia is different. And Apple's policy in Africa or Europe is different. So according to the employment conditions, according to the need of people, according to the government rules, regulations, norms, the company changes its policies respectively. So same is the case with Hongfeng Chin in China, same is the case with Nike, and same is the case with Levi Strauss. So the employment concern, the employment rules, regulations, and ethics in employment changes from country to country and company to company. Now, with respect to the international business implications, what do you need to understand? With respect to this, now the establishing a minimum acceptable working standard and audit of foreign subsidiaries and subcontractors on a regular basis. So a proper, timely, and frequent audit of at every perspective is required at an international level also. So for this particular concern, what you have to see, a proper acceptable working standard has been made applicable by a company. Now, if your company is of an MNC nature, that is, it is a multinational company, what do you have to see? You have to see that the employment opportunities, the rules, regulations, the standards, the working hours, the working conditions, the working terms are being set in such a way that it is universally applicable across the globe. That is, the same rule applies in US also, the same rule applies in India also, the same rule applies in China or Japan, and so on. So in this way, for example, if the working hours condition is taken to be into consideration. Now, if the policy of Apple is that the working hours condition will be of, for example, for 8.5 hours, then the 8.5 hours should be made applicable across the time zones. Now, if the policy of Apple or the Levi Strauss is of a certain concern that it provides flexible working hours condition. Now, in terms of flexible working hours condition in the sense, now, for example, if a person or an employee is situated in US, he may work from any 24/7 at any point of time within the specific time duration. It must only be seen that he's completing his 8.5 work of hours. Same if the case is it is in India, then a particular employee who is located of Apple or Levi Strauss in India, he must be given a certain freedom, he must be given a certain standard with respect to working his working condition at any point of time. Only the particular condition should be he must fulfill the terms of employment of 8.5 hours per day. So in this way, the working standards should be same and common for everyone. Audit of foreign subsidiaries. So at the same point of time, if the particular company is an MNC company, the audit or the inspection of the working hours, inspection of the working culture, inspection of the standards, inspection of the terms, conditions, output, productivity, and so on must be conducted at an frequent level and at a regular basis. So if a particular company's policy is for 15 days, for a fortnight, or if it is for a monthly basis, then accordingly the audit practices should be conducted and the goods and services must be identified, and it is been seen that the productivity is been achieved or not. So in this way, whatever may be your subsidiaries, whatever may be your MNC, wherever may be your location, how many may be number of your employees, the international business applications applies to you that the same rule, the same standards, it must be common for everyone, and accordingly, a proper supportive environment must be given to all the employees. Second perspective is with respect to the human rights. The right we take for granted in a developed nations, such as freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of movement, freedom from political repression, and so on. So by no means it is called as an universally accepted principle. So the human rights perspective comes into a certain picture or a certain perception wherein all the rights of that a particular individual as a particular person he has, that particular freedom must be provided to an individual whenever he is working in your organization. So if a particular MNC, whether it may be located at any corner of the world, the same freedom facilities must be provided according to the rules, regulations, norms by the respective government authorities. So if any freedom has been provided in Indian perspectives, the same freedom must be given to the employee as per the terms, conditions of the government, rules, regulations, and norms. If the freedom of universally developed nations provides you for a freedom of association of either speech or assembly or movement or from political oppression, the freedom for all the employees must be given. The company must also see that always the human rights of an individual is been protected by the company. So at any point of time, no violation of rights of an particular individual as a human being should be done. And if a certain situation comes or arises, the company must come forward and protects the rights of an individual. So the company should come forward. It should provide a certain environment wherein the universal accepted human rights have been protected, the individual feels secured at this particular location, and the particular feasible norms have been provided in which way the person can conduct his business activities and perform the transactions accordingly. Let's take an example at this particular concept. So South Africa until 1994, China's human rights record, the Myanmar, which is formerly known as Burma, and Royal Dutch Shell in Nigeria. So at this particular concern in different countries such as South Africa, China, Myanmar, and Royal Dutch, there were not following the human rights perspective. But after a point of time, when a human rights perspective came into picture, what happened? The universal rules, regulations, norms were applied, and every company, every nation, or every component of the organization was seeing that the rights of an individual, the rights of a human being have been protected, and they have been at a certain position, they have been given a certain freedom with respect to their speech, with respect to their assembly, with respect to the movement, with respect to the political repression, and so on. So what is the responsibility of an MNC when operating in a country where basic human rights are violated? Should the company be there at all? Yes, both the questions are answered in an affirmative way. In this way, we should understand that whether a particular company may be located at any location, the company must see that, the MNC organization must see that the basic human rights are not violated and they have been protected by the company also, and they have been protected for an individual also. So should the company be there at all? Yes, the company should always be there and should always come forward to protect the rights of an individual. So in order to protect the rights of an individual, the company must see that it is providing a suitable platform in order to exhibit the talent for the particular people. It should always see that if a particular right is been violated, it has been created that a proper justice is been given to the employee, and accordingly the rights have been protected of an individual. Next, coming with the third perspective is with respect to the environmental pollution. With respect to the environmental pollution, the ethical issues in this particular concern is that whatever the company, wherever it may be governing, wherever may be their business or the transactions or operational activities, the company must also protect the rights of an employment or the environment also. So ethical issues arise when environmental regulations in respect to the host nations are inferior to those in the home nation. So wherever your company may be conducting its business activities, whether it is a home nation, that is your domestic, or it is a multinational or international nation or a certain another country, you should always try to protect the environment, rules, regulations, and norms, and no harm should be caused to the environmental perspectives or to the nature. Sure. Should a multinational feel free to pollute in a developing nation? No, not at all. So the answer to this particular question is negative. So a multinational should never pollute the environment of a particular nation, and you should always see that the environment is quietly protected. The trees, the plants, the habitats, the animals, the culture, each and every aspect of the particular environment has been protected by the company, and the MNC or a particular organization should come forward to protect the rights of these particular people and the environment. So simultaneously, if you're protecting the rights of human beings, in the same way, in the same fashion, you should also come forward and protect the rights of an environmental perspectives also. So now coming with the concern of what was the tragedy of the commons. So the tragedy of the commons occurs when the individual oversue a resource held in a common by all, which is a particular concept or a particular case study of Garrett and Hardin. So Garrett Hardin was a particular company wherein it was been found out they were following only the norms of the home nation and not of the host nation. So a particular company or an MNC should always see that they are not only focusing or complying with the norms or the environmental regulations of their home country, but with respect to the home or the host nation also, they are complying and they are fulfilling the norms of the respective countries or the nations also. For example, foreign oil companies in Nigeria and Coca-Cola plant in Kerala. So at this point of time, there is a certain case study, or you can understand with respect to the environment concerns of Coca-Cola plant in Kerala. So at this particular point of time, what happened? There was a certain situation wherein it was being observed that whatever the waste amount that was being created by Coca-Cola, that particular plant or the particular company used to produce a certain waste, and the waste water was being dumped into the river. So whenever this particular concern comes into picture, what happened? The river used to get polluted, the surrounding plants, the surrounding environment, the surrounding habitat, the fishes in the pond, the lakes, everything, sea, and everyone was getting affected, and it created or it polluted the entire environment of the Kerala state. So in this way, what happened? The government gave a certain guidelines, and it was been given a certain order by the respective court that furthermore, the Coca-Cola is not allowed to come forward and pollute the environment. So after a point of time, what happened? A certain action was been taken, and again a certain revised policy was been drafted. Another perspective with respect to the Coca-Cola plant in Delhi, what happened? There was a certain situation wherein it was been found out, and then after a concern in Kerala, what happened? They have planted more trees. They have seen that the environment or the river is not polluted. They have seen that the resources have been properly utilized, and a proper balance between the environment and the human being is being created at a certain feasible level. So in this way, what used to come forward, the MNC should also come forward and protect the rights of an environment, and should see that the environment is not polluted and it is not causing harm to any of the habitat or the vegetation that is into existence. Now, with respect to the foreign oil companies in Nigeria, the foreign oil companies in Nigeria was given a certain guidelines with respect to the central government, is that what if they want to extract or process the particular crude oil, then they have to conduct the certain CSR activities, or they have to protect the rights of an environment. So in these particular ways, what happened? The companies came forward. They have provided a certain drawbacks. They have provided a certain guidelines with respect to what rules, regulation, norm needed to be provided, and accordingly they have initiated the measures accordingly. So in this way, the companies also have to come forward and see that the environment is being protected and it is not causing a harm at any point of time. Next perspective is with respect to the corruption. So corruption has been a problem in almost every society, and it has been continuing since historical perspective, but it continues on today also. So at this point of time, the ethical issues with respect to the MNC or in the international business is that we have to see that it is not creating a corruption into the environment or into the government's perspectives also. So proper control on the corruption, proper control on all the activities that may give a certain society a bad culture, a bad inception. In this case, what we have to say that there is no corruption into your countries also. So a particular MNC or an MN that is a multinational organization must not create a certain environment of corruption, and it must not also support the corruption. Corruption is equivalent bad, and it may harm a country's economic development. So, but there is also certain cases where payment to the government officials can remove the bureaucratic barriers to investment that create the job. So at this particular point of time, what we have to see, that there is no economic, you have to see that there is not a certain concern wherein the economic development of a country is getting harmed and the payment to the government officials is ruining the image of the company also and ruining the image of the country also. For example, the Bofors case, the Enron case, and the Lockheed case in US. So Bofors case and Enron cases with specific to the Indian concern or the Indian origin, wherein in order to get the certain environment clearances, in order to get the certain approvals, the people or the top management of the company has given a certain bribe or a certain corruption to the respective government officials, and they have get the approvals done accordingly. Same case was with the Enron, and same case was with the Lockheed case in the US also. So in this way, what happened? The proper conducive environment should be seen that the people, the society have a trust in the government also and have the trust in the multinational organizations also. So while conducting the international business, we have to see that no corruption activities have been undertaken, no any amount of some amount of or any amount of is been given in financial or monetary terms to the government officials, and it is not been benefiting in a direct or an indirect way. In this way, the transparent system needs to be into consideration. And if it has been found that if a particular person or if a particular company or a particular government authority or official is involved in such activities, a proper punishment should also must be given for them. So in order to give them the punishment, the proper acts, rules, regulations, or the legal procedure must be followed, and in such way the accused must be given a certain punishment out of it. So for this particular concern, the various acts that have been into existence is the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of 1977 and the Convention on Combating Bribery of Foreign Public Officials in the International Business Transaction, that is OECD, established in 1997. So in this way, there are various laws, rules, regulations which are into picture, and the people or the society can go against the company, and the action can be against action can be taken against the top management, against the employee of the companies, and against the government officials also. So in this way, what happens? We have to see that no corruption activity has been undertaken, and a clean society, corruption-free society must be provided to the society at large. Lastly, the moral obligations. So the moral obligations with respect to the ethical issues in international business is with respect to the social responsibility for MNCs. So the responsibility of an MNC is to give something back to the society that enable them to prosper and grow. So at this point of time, what we can see that whenever a particular international multinational company is conducting its business activities, what is it doing? It is using the land, labor, and natural resources of a particular society or a particular nation. So when you are using a certain resources of a particular nation or a particular society, you also have to give them in back something in return. So that something back in return is called as an social responsibility. For example, the BP, that is Bharat Petroleum Company, the British Petroleum Company is undertaking a policy of social investments in the countries where it is doing business. So the British Petroleum is conducting a certain activities with respect to social investment. Now, what is this particular social investment? It is with respect to plantation of trees, for creating the hygienic employment, for opening of school, for cleaning of rivers, for conducting the various drainage facilities, for creating the employment and education facilities, for producing the or for supporting the technologies, and so on. So various social activities, social investment, CSR activities have been undertaken by BP company, and it has been doing the business in the country also, and it is supporting the society also simultaneously. So at this point of time, what happened? Sometimes it is also seen that the multinationals may abuse their power to private gain also, which is the most famous example of the British East India Company. So a multinational on the conducting the business activities in your society. So in this way, what happened at this particular point of time, we need to take into consideration that you can see an example of British East India Company. So whenever they started to expand their business activities, what happened? They have set their business standards, and they have went around the different world economic countries to expand their business. But in a region in a motive to expand their business, what they have done, they have started to adopt the land of the respective people. They started to exploit the people, and the business activity was not being undertaken or conducted efficient way or in fluent way. So at this point of time, what we have to see? We have to see that the moral obligation remains at every point of time, and it is not been getting exploited at any point of time. So the company must also undertake all the social activities, all the benefits to the society must be given in return accordingly. Last perspective is with respect to the ethical dilemma. So the various ethical dilemmas, it is with respect to the what should be followed, what should not be followed, what should be done, what should not be done, what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So all these particular ethical issues with respect to a country to country should is needed to be undertaken, and accordingly the issues must be advised or guided. So what is the accepted ethical principle in international business? The first argument is with respect to the ethical depends on one's culture's perspective. So what is your culture? What is your perspective? What is your ethical values? So a particular company must come forward and look for what are the various ethical values in a particular country that has been governing. So American European views on capital punishment, whereas gift giving practices is viewed in Asian and Western nations. So there may be a certain practice which is found ethically in a certain country, whereas there may be a certain practice which may be found unethical in some another country. For example, if you give a certain gift in American and in European countries, it is treated as an unethical way. But whereas if you give a certain gift in Asian and Western nations, so what happened? It has been found as an ethical practice. So a practice is always different at different nations, and it is up to the government, it is up to the society, it is up to the MSC that they have to decide about what is ethical and what is unethical. Next perspective is ethical dilemma is with respect to the employment creation. So, and with respect to the employment creation is of the concern of child labor. So, conducting the or adopting the policy of child labor, it is completely banned across the globe. But there are certain countries where it has been, as on today, also seen that the child labor is into existence or into picture. So, a particular company or a particular organization should never adopt certain policy which is giving a certain increment or a certain rise to the increase in the child labor, and certain practices which are not accepted across the globe should not be accepted and should not be implemented accordingly. So in this way, we have seen with respect to the natures and ethical issues which may arise and which needed to be taken into consideration. So why do the managers have to manage or behave in an unethical way? So what are the various reasons due to which they are behaving in an unethical way? So let's look at the various determinants of this particular perspective. The first perspective may be with respect to the personal ethics. It may be with respect to the organization culture. It may be with respect to the unrealistic performance goals or with respect to the leadership. And lastly, it may be with respect to the decision-making processes. So there are various factors or there are various determinants due to which an unethical practice or unethical behavior may be undertaken by an employee or a particular person of an organization conducting an international business. The first perspective is with respect to the personal ethics. So personal ethics code expert exerts a profound influence on the business ethics. So an individual with a strong sense of personal ethics is less likely to behave in an unethical manner in a business setting. So if a particular person is been found of a good or a sound ethical behavior, there are very high chances that he may not conduct the unethical practices. So, but if a particular person is good, if he is ethical in nature, then his behavior will be ethical and he will be behaving ethically in the organization also and outside the organization, that is in the society also. So at this particular point of time, the personal ethics of a particular person is impacting a lot, and it is always measured in a various terms. So the personal ethics come from the various sources, that is from your parents, that is from your school education, college education, your graduation knowledge, your religion, your knowledge, your beliefs, your tradition, your customs, and ultimately the media also. So whatever impact that has been made on your mind, on your soul with respect to your religion and media is also creating and developing your personal ethical behavior. So the personal ethical behavior must also be in a balanced way, and you should also see that it is not harming any of the concern or the organization. Second perspective is with respect to the decision-making process. With respect to the decision, the most ethical decisions are particularly taken by certain persons, wherein you have to see that whatever decision that you are making are always ethical. Now, whenever a particular decision-making process comes in an ethical way, you should see that whenever you're taking a particular decision, it is always taken in a fair way and no other practices have been adopted. For example, if you want to take a particular decision, you may either influence or disinfluence a certain person. You may either bribe him or provide a certain corruption or a certain money or a certain benefit in monetary or non-monetary terms can be given. So all these particular practices must be avoided. The decision-making process must be clear, transparent, and non-partial basis. So we should have a certain situation wherein ethical consideration are not incorporated and a proper and fair judgment or decision is undertaken. Here you can understand or take a particular case study of Pfizer drug testing strategy, which was in Nigeria, and Nike's subcontracting decision. So when a particular decision is needed to be undertaken, the fair and ethical practices must be taken into consideration, and no unfair treatment or certain treatment for a favoring particular person should not be taken into consideration at any point of time. So in this way, the decision process must also be clear and transparent. The next concern comes with the determinants of ethical behavior is with respect to the organization culture. So your culture of the organization should be in such a way that it is acceptable and adaptable to each and every employee of the organization. So all the decisions of the organization must be in economic in nature, and it should not always be focusing on profit maximization or wealth maximization. You should be at a certain situation, at a certain position, and at a certain level wherein you are there to provide a certain benefit and return or output to the society also. So the benefit of the society at the large must also needed to be undertaken, and that particular feasible environment or conducive environment should also be taken into consideration. Example, the case of former Enron CEO, that is Kenneth Lay, was at this particular concern. So what happened? He has given a certain norms or a certain behavior, that is the organization culture was changing from person to person, situation to situation, region to region, and nation to nation. So this should not be a situation at this particular point of time, and the culture should be same for each and every people and each and every member of the organization. So you should have a proper trust, and you should give a proper importance to the values and norms of the organization, and the social rules, regulations, guidelines which have been followed and given by the respective government must be taken into consideration, and seen that the employees of the organization and the employer itself, both of the concerns are following it accordingly. In this way, the organization can also conduct and prosper fluently. Next perspective is with respect to the unrealistic performance expectations. So the expectations of the organization or a particular company must not be unrealistic. It should have a certain realistic approach with respect to the what can be achieved, whether the profit can be achieved or not, or what we are providing or giving to the society. So simultaneously, we have to see that whatever we are giving in return to the society, it is beneficial for them. It is not creating any harm, and it is creating a certain situation wherein a proper balanced growth is being created at all level. So here this creates a certain pressure cooker culture. So at this point in time, what we have to see that it is not a certain situation wherein one society or one segment is benefited and other segment is neglected or avoided by a respective company or a member nation or an organization. So the lessons from the Enron debacle. So at this point of time, what we can see, you can learn a certain lesson from the Enron, that a certain society or a certain section of the society is not benefited, and your expectations are not much high or too high, that you create a certain picture, that you show a certain picture that a particular organization will benefit you of a certain level. But in real sense, you should give a clear picture that what is the product, what is the output, and what is the profitability that can be generated out of this project. So in this way, a clear picture or a clear understanding about the rules, regulations, policies, your norms, your achievements, and your futuristic approach must be given to public at large also. And it can thus be called as an ethical behavior. Conversely, an organization culture can do just the opposite and reinforce the need for the ethical behavior. So in other words, also the organization can behave in an opposite way, and it can reinforce the ethical behavior. So it can adopt either the ethical or it can adopt an unethical behavior also. So it's completely dependent on the organization about which way they have to follow. The example is of with respect to the HP, that is Hewlett Packard company, that is into existence. So what they have done, they have followed a certain policy which is different to different people, and they have not provided a supportive environment to all the nations or all the societies at large. Next thing, coming concern with the determinants of the ethical behavior is with respect to the leadership. So a proper case study with the Enron and HP is available with you. So you have to see that you should have a proper leader who is trying to create a good example in the society. So if a leader is good, then a proper example can be set in front of the society. But if a particular leader is getting misguided and misbehaving in a particular society, then ultimately the company is also at losses, and the society is also getting harm out of it. Now let's look and let's come forward and look at the different approaches to the business ethics. So what are the various approaches with respect to the business ethics that one organization has to follow? So major with respect to the international trade or international business, there are four commonly discussed approaches. The first approach is the Friedman or doctrine. The second is the cultural relativism. The third is the righteous moralist, and fourth is the naive immoralist. So in this way, now let's look at the one-on-one perspective or the one-on-one approach individually. First thing, the Friedman doctrine. So it is given by the Nobel laureate Milton Friedman in the year 1970, which is specifically focusing on the concept of social responsibility. So the ethical issues it is with respect to the social responsibility that every organization that is conducting business activities, any MNC that is conducting a business transaction at the global level, it should always see that the proper social responsibility activity has been undertaken, and the business is not only for conduction of profits only, but it is for the increase of the wealth maximization or the profit maximization simultaneously. So long as the company stays, the rules of the law applies to all the organizations, and always a proper social concern must needed to be taken into consideration. He has rejected the idea that business should undertake social expenditures beyond those mandated by the law and required by the sufficient running of the businesses. So he has taken into he has come up with a certain proposition that the company should not conduct a social responsibility activity only up to the limit that is been given by a certain government. So if a government is saying you that the CSR activity must be conducted to your 20% of the profits, the company must not limit to the 20% of profit, but they can go beyond it. So if your particular organization can conduct a CSR activity of around 30% or 40% or 50% of their profits, the company must come forward and do the business or do the activities accordingly. So here the Milton Friedman has given a certain proposition or a certain exemption with respect to the social responsibility as a synonym for the business ethics. So does it go hand in hand? The Milton Friedman has raised a certain question. So we have to identify in a certain position that the social responsibility is quite a required concern, and a company must come forward and contribute to the CSR activities also. Next perspective, the second concern is with respect to the cultural relativism. So all ethics are culturally determined. Ethics are nothing more than a reflection of a culture. So if you, whether in whichever organization that you are dealing with, wherever you are maybe a business transactions, you have to see that you are properly following the rules, regulations, guidelines. You are properly supporting the culture. You are properly supporting the environment, the natural habitat, and the organization of this particular society. So in this way, the support for the culture, the boost or consideration of all the cultural factors is needed to be undertaken, and in this way the support and creation of the cultural ethics and rules must also be into picture. Accordingly, a firm must adopt the ethics of a culture in which is in operating. So a particular culture which it see that a certain rules needed to be conducted, a certain activity should be performed in a certain fashion, then accordingly the activities must be undertaken, and a support or a certain boost to the culture must also be provided by the company's perspective. Next thing is with respect to the third model, that is the righteous moralist. So the righteous moralist approach comes with the perspective of the standard of ethics that a particular company must be following at the home country and at the foreign countries respectively. So in this way, what happens if a particular standard is needed to be followed separate at the home country and separate at the foreign country, then accordingly the company must follow that particular practices and policies accordingly. So if a particular culture, if a particular practice, or if a particular ethic is different at different country, the same different locations, different practices must be followed at a different locations. So in this way, the righteous moralist approach with respect to the business ethics states you that different practices, different norms, different rules, different ethics must be followed at different countries in a different way. So as per the need, as per the requirement, and as per the guidelines of the respective government or the respective culture or the respective society, you must follow the set of rules and regulations and guidelines accordingly. For example, the American bank manager in Italy. So a particular bank manager in America, his policies may be different. A particular bank manager in Italy, a particular bank manager in India, everyone is different at different locations. So it is, we have to see that the proper rules, regulations, guidance has been followed at different locations in a different way. And lastly, the naive immoralist approach. The naive immoralist approach is focusing on not following the ethical norms in a host nation and the host nation. So at this particular concern, what happened? You have to take into consideration that if a particular country or if a particular company or an organization is not following a certain norms or ethical practices, then what action must be taken against it. So with respect to the drug lord problems, child labor issues. So if a particular organization or a particular country lays certain norms with respect to the drug addiction, with respect to the policies of certain selling of products, selling of goods and services into the open market, or the concern with respect to child labor, then the company must follow those policies. And if a particular company is not following those policies, then what action can be taken or must be imposed on that particular company. So objections are certain raised with respect to the company also, and accordingly the set of rules, regulation and guidelines must be followed, and it must be undertaken as per the need and requirement of the organization. So what we have to see with respect to the approach of the naive immoral debt. If a particular company or organization is not following those policies, what action can be implemented, what policies can be framed, and how accordingly the company must be tempted and created at a certain position that they are following the norms and rules and guidelines that are being provided by a society in general. Next perspective with respect to the ethical decision making. With respect to the ethical decision making, the company must come forward and see that all their decision is with respect to the working conditions, with respect to the human rights, with respect to the corruption, and with respect to the environmental pollution are always ethical. They should always follow the ethical practices, and accordingly the supportive and conducive environment must be given to the society. So what is beneficial for the society, what is beneficial for the state, what is beneficial for the country, only those practices must be adopted, and rest all the unethical practices must be discontinued and not adopted. 5 things that an international business entity managers can do for make sure international business decisions are with respect to the and working condition, human rights, corruption, and environmental pollution. So all these particular concepts must be followed, must be obtained, and accordingly the concern must be provided, and the concern must be taken into regular perspective. Next thing, coming with the ethical decision making. So it must always favor, it must always see that it is not favoring and hiring for the promoting people. So always a proper promotion for the people must be taken, proper judgment, proper freedom must be provided for a particular people to practice its own personal and ethical values. Build an organization culture that places a high value on an ethical behavior. So always the organization culture should be at a certain place that it is creating a value for the organization, and it is always supporting the ethical behavior of an individual also. It should always see that the leaders within the business not only articulate the rhetoric of the ethical behavior, but also act as in a manner that is consistent with the rhetorical requirements. So always the particular leader of the organization should be in a such a way that is not creating a dominant position in the organization, and it is always creating a certain environment wherein the development of the organization as a whole is being created simultaneously. Next perspective is with respect to the ethical decision making process is with respect to the ethical dimensions of the business decision. So all the business decision that you are taking, it must always be in an ethical way, and you should always see that it is not harming any aspect or any region or a section of the society. So the society must also get benefit, the employer and the employee must also get benefited, the organization must also be get benefited, the host nation and the home nation must also get benefit, and ultimately the country must also get benefit out of these particular activities. And lastly, the developing the moral courage. So the development of the moral courage is also a certain requirement wherein you have to see that the courage of the society, the courage of the people who are working in organization, it has been developed, and moral activities are also being supported simultaneously. And lastly, with respect to the hiring and promotion, with respect to the hiring and promotion, we have to see that the activities or the test that the organization is conducting, it is not of a certain situation that is creating a burdensome to the employees, and proper ethical transactions, ethical business activities are being undertaken as and when it is being required. So giving a psychological test uh, to the employees can benefit at a certain point of time. So we have to see that the employees is getting benefited at every point of time, and hiring policies are also in a supportive and conducive way. And lastly, check with the proper employees. So a proper communication and a check between the employer and employee relationship must be done, and it's always see that there is a proper connect and communication between these particular people, because ultimately it is the organization that is going to conduct the business activities, and it is going to transact the business activities at the national level and international level. So all the practices, whether it is an ethical or unethical, whether it is legal or illegal, every decision must be taken in a supportive way, and it must always be seen that it is not harming any section of the society. So in this way, various practices with respect to the ethics and non-ethics or unethical way must be taken into consideration, and you should always see that the international business activities or transactions are being conducted in an effective and fruitful way. So with this way, we come with the end of the today's session. Thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you.